What's up, guys? Just working on some A's right now. Had a rough start here with that one. Just gonna skip and go to the next one. And I'm doing this style of A where it finishes with an exit turn, which is a little bit harder, but at the same time I'm not trying to get a super tight exit turn. So this one's actually pretty acceptable. Except there's this little bit of curve in this downstroke, like that. This is the exaggerated form of it, but there's a little bit of curve instead of a nice straight. Like this one's pretty straight down. That looks really good. And this, I really like this front, I guess call it the front of the first stroke of the letter. I like that narrowness of it. I wouldn't hate it if it got wider, more like this one, or even this one. Also want to close up this distance here. Like that's better. That's really good and acceptable, I would say. This letter looks really good. There's a little bit too much of a gap in there. And it'd be nice. I mean, if I really wanted to nitpick about this exit turn, it'd be nice if it just pulled a little bit further down. You can see that. This was just a big miss. You know, this wasn't terrible here. But then I have a big gap here. And I was going smaller and smaller. And the reason I do that is because one of the big skills I think we're learning with movement writing is shifting between these different types of movement, between this very free and open movement and then these smaller, more restrained movements. So I think it's always good to kind of play with bigger movements, like where I'm going to do 2 lines high. It's really all forearm movement because it's that bigger form. I don't need the smaller muscles, or I don't need that restrained movement really to control the pen with a bigger form like that. And then it's really hard to go from that to then, let's say, just a really small A like this, which has a much more nuanced form, or a much more nuanced movement. When I'm doing a big A, it's all forearm, the entire thing. There's no point, I'm slowing down and speeding up at certain spots, but it doesn't feel like I am at all. When I do the small A, this front part is all forearm. And so is the turn and the upstroke here. So that's kind of just one fluid movement with forearm. But then once I hit that, then I switch to a more restrained kind of finger movement. Very subtle, probably not the easiest thing to see on video, but it's really this kind of movement like that for the first part. And then once you get to the upstroke, if I exaggerate it, I'm slowing down, and I'm using this action here, basically pivoting on the bottom of this last finger. Like there's no sliding of that finger until I get to the exit, until I make the turn, and then I can use forearm movement to exit out. And really creates this interesting rhythm with the letter. Where you're alternating back and forth between those 2 types of movement. So there's actually a lot to learn about movement writing in this very simple letter, the A, which is, it's obviously a great letter to practice because you're going to use it a ton. Lowercase a, it's in all kinds of words. So it's just great to practice it. It's great to practice it with the I too, because the I has a very similar movement where you do a forearm swing in and then you do that controlled pivot movement. And you can learn to do these letters without that controlled movement. I think it's a lot harder. takes more time, practice, and maybe you just need to be that type of writer. Like there's certain writers, like, I mean, take Rate G on Instagram. You know, he just is that dashy way that he writes, and he has a dashy look to his writing, and he executes it beautifully, and it's great to watch that. You know, he's not bothering with, you know, maybe he does in his mind have, I haven't talked to him about it, maybe he does have it in his mind like a little more restrained movement when he does these downstrokes. To my eye, it doesn't look like he does, but maybe there is a little bit of restraint in there that I just can't see. But yeah, I think I'll stop right there. Just wanted to turn the camera on right now and just show you what I was working on tonight as I'm getting back into writing a little bit more. So thanks for watching. Check out perfectbiscuits.com. Contact me there. Send me a letter. I'd love to see your writing in person, in the mail. That would really make my day. I promise to write you back as long as you're generally nice, which everybody has been that's ever written me. And check me out on Instagram, Perfect Biscuits on Instagram. So thanks for watching. I'm going to get back to practicing here.